Hi, I'm Aaron Blaise, and first of all, I want to thank you so much for purchasing my course on how to paint watercolor. You know, I started drawing as far back as I can remember, probably when I was sitting in the high chair at about 9 or 10 months old. But the first medium that I ever learned outside of crayons and pencils was watercolor. I remember sitting with my stepfather at our table one evening and him showing me this process of how to create these beautiful sunsets and washes with watercolor. And in that moment, I just thought it was so magical and I was hooked. So ever since the time I was 8 years old to now, I've used watercolor. I love it. I've used it in all kinds of different ways. And so during this course, I want to take you through some of the processes that I use in using watercolor, whether it's drawing, painting over drawings, full-on studio paintings, or painting out in the field. I want you to get comfortable with it because sometimes it can be kind of a scary medium, but I want to take that away and show you how much fun watercolor can be. So once again, thank you so much for purchasing this course, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Okay, so in this next lesson, I want to do something a little bit more freeform. So we've done 2 lessons where we've talked about washes, we've talked about frisks. You guys are getting really good at that, I hope by now. And you can see, as long as you take things very methodically, take your time, let things dry, layer things in a logical way, meaning, let your color theory work for you, using triadic colors as opposed to layering opposing colors, which you can do at certain times. So it's just making sure that you do it methodically, and actually, if you do want to layer opposing colors, complementary colors, layer them one at a time. Layer it, put one down, let it dry, then layer the next. Don't try to mix them unless you're trying to create a brown or a gray or something yucky. Not that browns and grays are yucky, because there's lots of good browns and grays. But if you're trying to do something that has a lot of color to it, when you start mixing complements, it'll start getting muddy. But I want to do something a little bit more freeform. So once again, I like using watercolor to let it do the things that it does best, which is run and create things that you don't expect. And so I kind of want to jump back a little bit and take some of what we've learned, but then mix some other ideas with it and just create another sky, but do something a little bit more freeform. So let's go ahead and jump in. So once again, I've already taped something down, and I'm just going to very lightly sketch in with pencil some cloud formations. And, being in Florida, we've got some great clouds. So here, what I want to do is like I said, I'm going to do this lightly because I don't want this pencil to show up that much. We've got great skies here in Florida, and I love painting clouds. And so what we're going to do here is some of it we're going to keep hard-edged. Some of it we're going to let it just run. And so I need to have this pencil line down first, for me anyway, so that I have something to paint to. Here I want some nice big shapes. And as things get further and further away, those clouds are going to get smaller and smaller. I don't know if you can see that too well. Hopefully you can. So I just want to get these last shapes in. So I've got a few shapes in here that I like, and once again, I want them to feel like they're going further and further back on the horizon. Darn those cars. I've got too many cars around my neighborhood. So there you can see those clouds kind of receding into the background. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and mix my colors first. So I want to make sure, first of all, that I've got enough. I want to put down some more ultramarine. And I'm going to mix them all separately. because I'm kind of going to do everything all at once. So here I'm going to throw down some ultramarine. That's really intense, and the sky is never that intense ultramarine. So we want to tone it down. You want to tone that down. I'm going to tone it down with some cerulean. Which is a very weak color, so I need a lot of cerulean. You'll see it just disappears when we get into that ultramarine. It just disappears. And then we're going to tone it down with just a little bit of warmth, which will gray it just ever so slightly. There we go. I'm getting into a good sky color here. I'm making a mess. There we go. So I'm making a good sky color here. Now I just very slightly want to tone that down with a little bit of yellow ochre, just so it's not so intense. That's my own choice, my own personal choice. Next, I want to get the gray of the cloud, the shadow areas. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm just going to keep it those colors. So it's going to have a little bit of blue in it, like so. But I want some Payne's Gray in there. I really like what Payne's Gray does. And I don't have enough. I got to squirt some out. And I always go conservative. I always put less than I think I need. Because paint's expensive, and you know, don't waste it. And that's the great thing about watercolors, is that you can, there we go, we're getting a nice gray in there. And I'm going to warm it up with just a touch of alizarin. The great thing about watercolors is you can reconstitute them. That's not so bad, actually. Not too bad. You can reconstitute your watercolor after they dry. So you just got to drip some water on them, and you're good to go. So that's a good thing. I'm going to tone this down just a little bit, because it needs to be a little gray. There. That's going to be a nice gray for our sky. And then I'm going to jump over here. And I'm going to create a little bit more straight cerulean. And we're going to do a little gradation in the sky. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to go really fast. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint around. Rather than frisking now, I'm going to just paint straight ahead. Just paint where the clouds aren't. I'm going to start with the sky. Start sky color. I'm just going to dive right in. Like I said, just kind of paint where the sky isn't. I want to get a little bit more. It's a little bit intense. As I say, it's intense. It's like camping. All right, so I know, stupid jokes. So I'm going to just paint these in and keep it wet. Keep it wet. I've got to keep it going. Keeping it wet. Keeping it spontaneous. That one dripped a little bit, but that's okay. Keep all this running down just a little bit. I'm going to jump over to my cerulean now. More water. I want this to get lighter and lighter. Try to keep these edges wet. Got to move fast. You get that a little warmer, a little lighter. The sky's going to get a little warmer. Got to work this fast. So one thing I want to do is I'm going to jump over here now. Watch this. I got to get some of these cloud shadows in here. And I'm going to let some of it just run right into it. You just let it run. Then one more shadow up here. Whoop, a little too much water there. Just let it run. There, now I'm going to jump back, continue with our painting here. I got to keep going back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth. Now watch, I'll rinse my brush, pull out some of the water, and I can see how I can soften those edges just like that and get some really nice little cloud effects. Continue down here. There, we'll just let that run all the way through. And you can see, just by going quickly and letting things kind of run together, you can create some nice effects. I'm going to get a little bit more warmth in there, a little bit more water, so we get less pigment. So it does tend to go towards the green as you get towards the horizon. So we get a nice little bit of warmth as we work through down towards the horizon. You get more dust and dirt in the air, which is reflecting the color of the sun, and it's mixing with that blue. So you're getting a little bit of green in there. There. Really quick and easy. Just like that. So now I'm going to go in with a bit of a smaller brush. The same thing. Just grab some of this pigment. There we go. And just let it kind of go from dark to light from the bottom up. Just like that. You can see how quickly you can paint a sky. This is kind of my technique when I go on location. When I'm painting clouds on location, painting them from life, when I'm plein air painting, this is what I do. I get out there and do it in this method. And you can create some really beautiful effects. Just let watercolor do what it does. Let it blend, let it create lines, let it do whatever. You can create some beautiful, beautiful effects. Just very quickly. Once again, I'm coming through here. Letting it all run. There. You get some nice effects in here. There, and just softening these edges. Here, I'm going to come up here and just scrub into this one a little bit. And you can see I can scrub into it. Create a whole new effect. There we go. So you can see now, by going through and doing kind of a combination of what I've shown you, where we're doing washes, but we're also softening edges and all of that, you can kind of come up with something that feels really, really organic. There we go. Now watch, I can go back in and come into some of these other areas and just scrub them up. Watch, I'll scrub that area. And watch this, pull it right up. Soften an edge, pull it right up, and get really kind of have some fun with that. Make that feel like a cloud. There. So that's a nice feel right there. We got a nice sky. I'm going to scrub that. Watch this. Scrub it, pull it up. Soften that edge. Boom. Do the same right along there, right along the sky. We can get nice soft edges. Do the same thing in here. There. Boy, that feels really good. We get that just right. We get these great, great edges. It really feels like a cloud now. Let's soften some of these edges up here. I'm just scrubbing them. You know, just because it goes down doesn't mean it has to stay down. You can soften edges in watercolor. You can go in and it's not easy, but you can do like what I'm doing now, and you end up with some really great effects. Let's just lose these edges right here. Bam, we got a cloud now. Can connect the two together. Watch that. Look at that. We got those two connected together. Now it's nice and soft. This little negative space up here, we'll just hit that and soften it. There, we got a nice little bit there now. So now, I'm going to blow dry this. And what we'll be able to do is I can go in with some other pigment. We'll be able to hit it a little bit more detailed. I love letting those edges run together. You know, letting things, like having hard edges mixed with soft edges. It really feels cloud-like. Now I can go in and I'm going to mix some more color. There we go. Mix a little bit more color now. Just go in and hit some of this like it's, you want to make sure that you're keeping nice and free form with it. I go a little harder with that. There. Some nice textures going on in here. Now watch, I can go the opposite way and really pull out some light areas. Right in there. Get some nice shapes going. Now maybe some of the clouds are in shadow. like so. Here we go. I'll just let that run right into here like it's its own. Its own little thing. Look at this. It's just like a Bob Ross world. This is your world. You can paint clouds any way you want. But follow some of these rules and you'll end up with some really great effects. You know, go outside and look at clouds. Look at how they're lit. Yeah, some of these lower clouds that are in shadow, kind of going across the sky like so. There. And you want to make sure you don't overwork it. So we're right on the verge of overworking it. But look at that. We've got a great sky. Done very quickly. And this is just done sitting in the studio. You know, go home, or when you're done with this, go outside and set up and try looking at the sky and painting from life. I just painted this, you know, from thinking about some of the skies I've painted in the past. I was looking at some skies earlier, even had one on my computer screen, but I really didn't use it. I just kind of thought about some of the different clouds that I've painted in the past and just wanted to be really free with it. I don't want you, at this point in your lessons, I don't want you to think about really rendering stuff yet. I mean, I just want you to let the watercolor do what it does. Just get in there and let it flow and have fun with it. We're going to get into rendering and really getting into some tight noodly stuff soon enough. And so don't worry about that yet, because we'll have fun doing that too. There we go. Getting some nice texture in those other clouds. And you see we can soften these too. Just like so. I got to do one more. This one's bothering me. I got to get one up right along in here, I think. Soften some edges. There. There we go. It's a nice cloudy, cloud-filled sky. Get one little shot up here. There. fun. Keep it fun. Make sure you keep it fun. So there's a quick cloud demonstration. And let's go ahead and pull, well actually let's go ahead and tape it. Or tape it. Let's blow dry it. Okay, so you can see, how we got started out nice and cool, got warmer as we went down with the blues. That's important when you're doing a sky. And boy, I always love getting these nice clean edges, especially when we do a sky like this. There. So there's a quick sky done. We did that in about 20 minutes. And but I want you to see how much fun it can be. As long as you have the right color, the right values, you can get in there and create some really beautiful stuff very quickly, letting watercolor do its thing. Just let it be watercolor. That's what you want. You just want to let it do its thing. So why don't we go ahead and we'll move on to the next painting.